All right, let's talk about the massive shift from 5G to 6G. And I mean a real shift. For anyone leading a business, this is way more than just faster phones. We're talking about a future where your network isn't just for connecting things, it's a cognitive sensing platform. So let's jump right in.
So, the big question right off the bat is 6G just 5G with the speed turned up? The answer is a huge no. Honestly, it's not even close. The jump we're about to see isn't just about more speed, it's a fundamental change in the architecture, one that's going to completely redefine what's even possible.
To really get where we're going, you have to understand where we've been. Before 5G came along, networks were built on this really rigid foundation of specialized hardware. And frankly, that was a major bottleneck for any kind of real innovation. Let's take a quick look back. So, back in the 4G days, everything ran on something called the Evolved Packet Core, or EPC. The best way to think about it is like old school on-premise IT. Yeah, it was powerful, it was reliable, but man, was it inflexible. Every single function was tied to a specific box, a physical piece of hardware. If you wanted to add a new feature, you probably had to buy and install a new box. That hardware-first model was the problem. And this is where the revolution really begins. The true game changer with 5G wasn't just the boost in speed. It was a complete, ground-up redesign of the network's core, its brain, really. And you can really see the difference side by side here. On one hand, you have 4G's world of rigid hardware boxes. On the other, you have 5G's flexible, cloud-native design where network functions are just, well, software. And that is the key. 5G completely separated the network's intelligence from the physical gear it runs on. So, what does this service-based architecture really mean in plain English? Think of it like this. It's the difference between a giant, old-school mainframe computer and today's modern cloud, where all these different apps and services talk to each other through APIs. Network functions suddenly became like microservices that you can create, scale up, and update at the speed of software, not at the pace of installing hardware. And it's this huge architectural change that actually makes all the big promises of 5G possible. We're talking about giving a factory robot a millisecond response time, or connecting a million IoT sensors in a tiny area, or even carving out custom virtual networks. None of that could ever happen on an old, rigid, hardware-based system. Okay, so that's the foundation 5G built. Now, let's look ahead, because the performance targets for 6G aren't just a little better, they are a mind-blowing leap forward. Right now, 5G's peak data rate is about 20 gigabits per second. That's incredibly fast, and it's what enables things like high-def streaming and the first real AR applications. But just hold that number in your head for a second, because what's coming next is on a whole different planet. Now look at this. The target for 6G is over 1 terabit per second. That's not just an improvement, that is a 50 times increase. We're talking about a jump so big it could make wireless connections just as fast, or maybe even faster than a physical fiber optic cable. And it's not just about raw speed. Latency, that's the network's response time, is also getting a crazy upgrade. 5G's 1 millisecond latency is already really impressive, but 6G is aiming to cut that down by a factor of 10. This opens the door to things that sound like science fiction today, like real-time control of continent-spanning robotic networks. I mean, when you lay it all out like this, the sheer scale of the ambition is just clear. From speed and latency to how many devices you can connect, every single key metric is being pushed to an entirely new level. So that leads to the big question: how on earth do we actually get there? Well, hitting these insane numbers isn't something you can do by just tweaking 5G. It requires brand new technologies that are going to fundamentally change what a network even is and what it can do. So, here's the first big idea you need to wrap your head around. With 6G, the network stops being just a pipe for data. It actually becomes a sensor. This is all made possible by a tech called Integrated Sensing and Communication, or ISAC. What it means is the very same radio waves that carry our data will also be scanning the physical world, kind of like a high-res radar system. Just imagine a factory where the network itself is creating a live, centimeter-accurate digital twin of every single thing happening. That's the kind of power we're talking about. Okay, and the second revolutionary concept? We're talking about embedding artificial intelligence directly into the very fabric of the network, creating a system that can basically think for itself.
They're calling this the AI native air interface. And here's the difference. 5G uses AI to help manage the network, but with 6G, machine learning is built in at the deepest, most fundamental level. So instead of using fixed algorithms that humans designed, the network will constantly learn from its environment in real time, always optimizing itself for the best possible performance. It becomes a network that improves itself every second of every day.
So let's bring this all together. We've gone from hardware-bound networks to today's flexible services, and now we're heading towards this new world of intelligent sensing fabrics. So what does all this actually mean for the future of business? Here's the whole evolution in a nutshell. 4G was all about connectivity, just connecting people and devices. 5G is about services, delivering customized, virtualized experiences. But 6G? 6G is all about intelligence. The network itself becomes a cognitive platform that can sense the world around it. There's a quote that just perfectly captures the entire vision for this next decade. It says, 6G is anticipated to bridge the digital and physical worlds through ubiquitous intelligence. The goal is to literally erase the line between those two worlds, creating one seamless, intelligent environment. And really, that brings us to the final thought here. This isn't just another tech upgrade. It's the arrival of an entirely new utility, a platform for innovation that we can't even fully imagine yet. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. When your network can not only communicate, but can actually see and learn, what new services, what new efficiencies, what new realities are you going to build?